Our family has also been told that we can simply have our children opt out of the sex ed classes if we have an issue with the classes. But I would like to say to you, who are entrusted to represent and make decisions for our children, and to the community that may be watching this video, that we have a big concern with what is now being taught to children as young as 10 in Benicia, such as children are being asked to identify their pronouns, and this is now part of the 10-year-old curriculum. We are alarmed that gender identity is now being discussed in math classes. Teaching kids that there isn't any standard or truth and that you can believe anything you want to believe is not scientifically accurate or medically correct. For example, the notion that a girl can decide to be a boy or a boy can decide to be a girl is not true and should not be taught. Our 10-year-olds will now be taught that they can receive puberty blockers to prevent their body from going through changes that make them uncomfortable. 12-year-olds will now be taught about oral and anal sex. 12-year-olds. So I get a little emotional about this because I think that's wrong. We're appalled that the school district has adopted this curriculum.
Thank you. Thank you.
If anybody wants information on where to find this information in the curriculum, I've researched it very thoroughly. I'm happy to provide that.
Thank you.
Now this is a very interesting story. A California mom has lost her job for speaking at her children's school board meeting. This via libs of TikTok, and also Jonathan Zackerson also covered this. A mom spoke out at a school board meeting about them injecting gender ideology into the curriculum. Something that, many parents have come out and, had their strong opinions on. I think, ultimately, these are things that parents should talk about. They shouldn't be a part of any kind of public education system, right? Leftist activists were fuming and set to her work, tracking down her employer and destroyed her life. Compass, her employer, caved to the mob and fired her. I spoke with Janet, and she shared her frustrations about what's going on in America. Her life was turned upside down, but she stressed she believes parents have to stand up for what's right and protect their kids, and she does not regret speaking out. What's interesting is Compass has now started turning off their replies. This is the right reaction. These corporations should get buried on social media nonstop. They don't get to tweet anymore. It's like Bud Light. Bud Light doesn't get to tweet anymore until they make corrective action. Compass should not be allowed to tweet anymore. Every reply should be filled with people dunking on them. Horrible that you do not support free speech and diversity of thought. Every American must be free to speak and voice their concern without the fear of losing their job. You cave to their mob. Cave to the mob. Nice day for a lawsuit, don't you think? The pushback for firing someone who has an opinion you don't like is going to be far greater than the basement-dwelling leftists that demanded you fire her. I hope you go out of business. Cancel Compass, cowards, disgusting commies. A company of groomers or hateful cowards. You define yourself as simply one or the other. People say, how long till the comments are blocked? Well, they're blocked now. I suspect that, did they block these? Yep, they turned them all off. They were just getting absolutely destroyed. Now, here's a video of her full speech that triggered the insane reaction. She's just a normal mom trying to protect her kids. It's 3 minutes long. And let's see what she has to say.
Hello, I'm Janet Robertson. I have 3 children in the district: elementary school, middle school, high school. At the last meeting, my time to speak was cut short, and there was so much to say about the new sexual education curriculum. I realize the curriculum has already been approved. I also realize that Miss Rice, who I incorrectly was referring to as a doctor last week or last month, explained that only 3 families out of 4,500 students in Benicia voiced concern about the curriculum. Our family has also been told that we can simply have our children opt out of the sex ed classes if we have an issue with the classes. But I would like to say to you, who are entrusted to represent and make decisions for our children, and to the community that may be watching this video, that we have a big concern with what is now being taught to children as young as 10 in Benicia, such as children are being asked to identify their pronouns, and this is now part of the 10-year-old curriculum. This forces a gender discussion beyond the scope of the state requirements and complicates an already overburdened classroom environment.
This is what she got fired for. This is what she got removed from her job for.
We are alarmed that gender identity is now being discussed in math classes. This takes time from core learning and does not benefit the students or our community. Teaching kids that there isn't any standard or truth and that you can believe anything you want to believe is not scientifically accurate or medically correct. For example, the notion that a girl can decide to be a boy or a boy can decide to be a girl is not true and should not be taught. The new curriculum teaches that individuals can decide if they're male or female, regardless of anatomy, does not explain that a boy cannot menstruate and a girl cannot impregnate someone. This is not scientific or medically accurate. Our 10-year-olds will now be taught that they can receive puberty blockers to prevent their body from going through changes that make them uncomfortable. All humans are uncomfortable during adolescence. To teach vulnerable children that a lifetime of dependence on medical care is a viable option is completely unacceptable.
Is anything she's saying up until this point, did she need to get fired from her job? Did she need to have her life ruined for this? And now Elon Musk is in on it. Compass, did you really fire this person for this reason? So Elon Musk gets in on it. Compass, inquiring minds want to know.
And evil, frankly. The new curriculum encourages gender confusion, not gender clarification. All parents should question how this is helpful, scientifically sound, or medically accurate. 12-year-olds will now be taught about oral and anal sex. 12-year-olds. So I get a little emotional about this because I think that's wrong. The Ed Code 51933 requires that instruction and materials should be appropriate for use of pupils of all races, genders, sexual orientations, and ethnic and cultural backgrounds. Teaching children about oral and anal sex violates this law, since several cultures would not find this teaching appropriate. When we asked, we were told the reason the curriculum removes the idea of male and female was to be more inclusive, but no longer identifying females as having ovaries and males as having testes is not scientific, not medically accurate, and not true. It's nonsense. It's not a choice. People are not gender fluid, and to teach our children this is not okay. We're appalled that the school district has adopted this curriculum.
Thank you. Thank you.
If anybody wants information on where to find this information in the new curriculum, I've researched it very thoroughly. I'm happy to provide that.
Thank you.
They just couldn't wait to get rid of her. Couldn't wait to get rid of her.
Is Benicia open-minded? Is this a town that values? On April 20th, I spoke at the school board meeting to say I disagree with the company who could have stood up for me and my American right to voice.
Yeah, so Compass, Compass essentially, of course, we're in the Bay Area. She's the vice chair, by the way, looks like. They issued a
for destroying her work in.
Look at this. They, I'm writing to seek official comment from Compass Real Estate's Benicia branch regarding the conduct of Janet Robertson, whom I understand is a Compass employee. Recently, Benicia resident named Billy posted an op-ed to the Vallejo Times-Herald regarding Ms. Robertson's public behavior. Her comments at a recent school board are now a matter of public record. The text of her op-ed are available below. My questions include examples of incendiary language she used to further her agenda, which I described as anti-equity, anti-trans, anti-black, and anti-choice. Is anything she said there any of those things? I can't, absolutely none of what she said was any of those things. None whatsoever, right? I plan to post Miss Dean's op-ed to the Independent site and email it to our subscribers and supporters. Our post will reach between 1,000 and 1,500 people. Yeah, that's right. 1,100 leftist weirdos are going to get our email. Well, guess what? 50 to 100,000 people are going to see this video. The interview has 2.8 million impressions. I would be pleased to share a comment from Compass, and I invite you to consider the questions I've asked, essentially begging them to fire her. I personally know Ms. Robertson's values do not reflect the company's values. And Janet, and here's the email, Compass to Janet Robertson. Following up on our phone call, Compass has decided to part ways with you. Managing Director, East Bay. Didn't even put their name on it. Subject, disassociation. Now, certainly, Compass is a company that is every bit, in my opinion, deserving of a national boycott, a non-stop barrage of people roasting them on social media, a non-stop barrage of backlash, because what they did, I mean, the speech is, I mean, look at this is a July Disability Pride Month. Seems like their disability is understanding freedom of speech. And even if this was like a hard freedom of speech issue, let's say she said something truly heinous and they fired her for it, I wouldn't agree with that. But in this particular case, nothing she said is any of the things that this weirdo emailer put. I'm hoping people start a GoFundMe for this woman because, I'd be happy to support it. And this is wild. So I think excellent work from Lives of TikTok, highlighting the situation, the original reporting by Jonathan Zackerson, and now Elon Musk is in it. So, hopefully the internet will do what the internet does.